Let's get it. We are live with Jamel Ford Mello. What's good, brother?
What's up, man?
You know, surviving. I'm actually living very well. How's your life treating you?
I'm living well as well. Play on words, but thank you for reaching out and having me on here. I felt special. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but I was tuned in regardless if you asked me or not. I like what you're doing, and thank you for at least wanting to talk. It's good to see your face because we talk often, but I haven't seen you since you moved. So
Right, yo, I feel that. You got a new hair color, you got some
yeah,
braces, you activated. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
turned 30.
yeah,
I turned 30/13. So,
how's 30 treating you?
bro, I feel like I'm one. I feel brand new because I amazing, like the best I've ever felt. I'll say that.
Yo, I'm happy for you. I'm on that wavelength too. And like you want to like when I talked to you recently, like just the energy and like it was just all positivity, which is becoming more and more rare in these days. So I was like definitely feeling that, vibing off that. But yeah, let's get into it, yo, because I feel like you're a very interesting character, one of my closest friends. And so the way I've been starting is like the first thing that comes to my mind with the person is the question I ask. But with
So
you, I feel like it's just so much, just a lot, you know
yeah,
what I mean? So I feel like the whole story, I just want to get into the whole story. So let's just start from childhood. Um, Tell me about your upbringing, my friend.
yo, my whole life I told everybody I was well. Obviously, I'm from Philly. We from Philly. I should tell people, yo, I'm from North Philly, North Philly, North Philly. But I've been talking to my grandma recently, and we walk into the laundromat because I walk to the laundromat every few weeks, and she's like, yeah, that's the house you and your mom lived in when she brought you home. And the whole time we in South Philly at 24th and Catherine. So the story goes back like a year or two before. The whole time I'm from South Philly. I'm from the P, like they say in the city, but I'm really just from North Philly for real. Like I feel like I lived childhood. My whole childhood was in North Philly. I moved like once a year for like 12 years straight. So I really lived like Broad Colony, Old York Road. I lived at Broad and Champlos. I lived again 16th and Ruscombe. I lived at 17th in Erie, 16th in Erie. I lived at like 18th and Camac Street. I lived at 10th in Wyoming. I lived on Susquehanna. I lived at 33rd and Berks.
What, dog?
Bro, like the play, like shout out to mom. Mom was definitely. It was unfortunate the circumstances, but her wizardry was just our play was we're gonna give you the down payment and then you burn. And then we're gonna live in that crib as long as it takes you to run the eviction process. And then we're gonna do that thing over and over. So my mom paid rent like twice a year my whole childhood. And then we just move.
Yo, that is wild. I ain't know that.
Yeah, when we used to catch the subway home from Masterman, bro, like I would get off a different subway stop every single year. I used to live in Logan. Yo, I went to, like, speaking of childhood, I went to Cleveland Elementary, Pennell, Howe. I went to, what's that store? Pastorius. I went to Logan. I went to Bethune. I can't remember
That's
all of them, but I definitely went to 10 elementary schools from kindergarten to fourth grade. Definitely did kindergarten twice because of the whole finagling. So
wow.
my
Okay,
childhood,
that's
that was my childhood, just like a young kid in North Philly. Just funny thing is, I don't know anybody from North Philly. I don't have one associate that I talk to regularly from North Philly. I would move, we'd be there, I'd be in the mix, and then I would dip. But I know the ins and out of North Philly like anybody in North Philly. And that's when I think of childhood, I think of just North Philly. Like, bro, I used to like me and my dad used to pick us up Cadillac. My man had a different Cadillac every year. So childhood just spent in Cadillacs. Remember, you never like hat cab,
oh
like
yeah, of course.
Bro, I was the hat cab, hat cab, hat cab. Like that was what I used to do with my dad in the Cadillac on Broad and Lehigh. Like when I think of childhood, I think of shit like that. Like just in North Philly, Broad and Lehigh, hat cabin, down like Germantown Ave, around Lehigh, like out there tossing the tennis balls with my dad. You know what's in the tennis balls because my dad out there doing shit he ain't supposed to be doing with the tennis balls. Like just childhood was just like the child of like a hustler in North Philly.
Wow. See, that's wild to me. I didn't know like all those details. How you feel that like that the circumstances that you said affected you? Because like moving around every day, like every year, like how did that affect you?
I think it's like a twofold where it's like you can see how like obviously you can see the benefits of a stable house, a stable home, and obviously as we get older or anyone who has a child would look to stabilize their household. But at the same time, I felt like my path was just meant to be like a young kid who just pure independence. Who I really saw what it was like to be like a Philadelphia native. It's one thing to be downtown and be at the mall and be at Liberty Place, but to like, I spent my childhood on public transportation, and like that's when you see like what your city really lived like. Like they say we live in the inner city. Like I got to experience that shit like in all its like nuts and bolts for sure. So it affected me obviously good and bad, I would say. Like just had me. I think it's like a good way to see the beginning of lack of a foundation, which winds up like moving more and more and more. And then as you get older, you see how that lack of foundation like solidified like morals and principles and truths and shit like that. But for the most part, I look back like, damn, I was lucky to have had that experience because it gave me like a different lens. So there's two sides to every coin, as always.
Yeah, that's real, man. That sounds your childhood just sounds like I said, the beginning of a movie, man, and it pretty much is. So Masterman, right? So
Right.
you went to all these different elementary schools, and yet you still ended up getting accepted into Masterman, which for those that don't know is like pretty much like the best middle school, the best school in Philly. You needed to have certain grades, you need to have certain test scores, and it was just like people from all over the city who are very intelligent children. Um, how'd you get into Masterman? And tell me about your experience in Masterman Middle School.
Yo, well, to get in fifth grade, I think they go off your third grade test scores. And in third grade, I had Miss Kennedy, which was like, I had a few teachers who I remember. It was Miss Kennedy, Miss Jackson, and Miss Lamont from kindergarten, first, second grade. But Miss Kennedy was my third grade teacher. And when I was a kid, I don't know why I was in the dictionary so much, but I was in that shit often enough to, you know how when a word's at the end of the line, they do half the word dash and then put the rest of the word on the next line. For some
Yeah.
reason, in third grade, I was writing on my papers like that. So if I did my homework and I ran out of space, I would just do dash and then finish that shit because I got it in the dictionary. And Miss Kennedy pulled me aside. She was like, Germel, where'd you learn this? She was fascinated. So I said, the dictionary. So that put into her mind that, yo, this kid must have some type of intelligence. So then she signed me up for whatever. I'm sure it was more than that too. It wasn't the one time she saw the word and actually this kid. But that, among other things, played. This kid's a wizard. You see this?
You see this dash? Oh man.
No, but that, among other things, it was third grade. Miss Kennedy. I guess she saw how I carried myself. I definitely was a teacher's pet. I used to mark the spelling tests of the other students. Like Miss Kennedy would pile the shits up, and I would, oh no, I don't know what you were spelling because you're doing anything X X X. Like I was that kid, and then I got into Masterman, and then so that bouncing around school thing switched, and I got to go to Masterman in fifth grade. It was cool though, but fifth grade, we had Miss. I don't want to say it, that's just, but we had the wife of a gym teacher, and both parties worked at the school. I would throw the lady name all on the internet and shit like that. But that's when I realized the lack of foundation started to like show itself in like the reflection of like, so we at the first day of school, like open house. What do you call that shit? Remember you was in Miss Gray class, right?
All right, Miss Gray, you had
I miss Miss Libra, whatever. She's out there. But when all the parents come to school, and then it's like the first day of school where the teacher introduces the section and the plans for the year. I was in that joint solo. I got on the subway at Wyoming, got off of Spring Garden, and was just there like it was first day of school. But it really was like a parent and a student thing. So then that was like my fifth grade was just like, oh man, I'm on this island by myself, and Miss Libra about to run an ISO on me every fucking day. She was like, it kind of plays into Masterman is fire, but I follow like the alumni association page, and apparently it's not like the reputation isn't as like flowing as it was before. Like the students of color are having like a much different experience than like previous years, and it's like a whole different culture there than I can say I experienced. But Miss Lieber tells us, yeah, 5-2, I may be a little bit prejudiced, but 5-2 is always the best section. I was just like, and she said that in front of all our parents. And then from that day on, I experienced, my fifth grade was like, it was biased, but I know that lady just had it out for me. Like I come into class late and she say, Germel, what's the answer? I say, ma'am, I didn't do it. You know I didn't do it, so I don't even know why you put me on the spot. First of all, second of all, like I didn't hear the question, so I don't have the answer. She's like, get out. And I'm in Mr. Bobak's office once a week and blah, blah, blah. But that was fifth grade. But sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, it was cool. I was just out the way. I feel like I wasn't in your world yet. You was somewhere else. You was on the highest level. I had no internet. I ain't have AIM. I ain't have Zynga. I ain't have MySpace. None of that shit yet. So it was cool. But I was, yeah. Me and Chris Carroll was hooping on the roof with Gianna, and
he's on the other court and shit.
Yeah, like definitely. I hadn't even made it to like the good courts yet. I was just over there. It'd be me, Chris Carroll, Gianna, Noel, Rat. Like it'd be me, all the girls, Chris Carroll, Phil Lindsay. We just playing our game of 5-on-5 while y'all like. You ever see like the memes where it's like first class and coach, like on the other side of the court, confetti. But middle school was fire though, to me.
Right. That's interesting. Oh, my fault. You got it.
No, it was just like it introduced you to a different culture. I say like I don't see race the way I see race now because the shit is clear as day. But before shit got like slapped you in your face obvious, my experience like you're in a class with a Filipino person and a Jewish kid, like you're just around all these kids at a young age. Then you grow up with these kids, so then you see the world a little differently than had I just been in North Philly still. It was like cool. What like something special became my norm starting in middle school. So that's what I think about when I see or when I think of Masterman Middle School.
Cool. Yeah, I'd never really thought about the fact that in middle school you were pretty like low key, kind of like nothing really pops up too much in my mind. But then out the way, right. But then high school comes and like half of us leave, all the dumber kids, and now it's the high school and like now you like kind of building the portfolio like on the path to becoming a man. What was that with Masterman High School?
Bro, it was 100 people in the class. It wasn't hard to be like I was the biggest person in the school, so it was all just. And I got drafted. You know, we'll keep that on the inside. But I got drafted. I got selected. So once you get drafted, like I was on.
Yo, that's so hard for me to keep on the inside, yo.
Yeah, out of respect to like all unions and whatnot, but
you're right.
Great, and then it was all like, but no, I think it wasn't the man per se, but I was just friends with everybody, like whether, you know what I'm saying? Our high school class was really close with the seniors, like Mike Mack, still my man to this day, like 06 and Zah and them guys, they like took us in, so then we had like a welcoming high school experience, and that just kind of carried itself through the next 4 years. And then I I'm just a friendly person anyway. So I'll be friends with the people below and below that. And I see middle school kids in the hallway. What's up? Like, Masterman is very small. Like, we had 113 or 14 kids in our graduating class. So you got to think 400 kids in the whole school. And this fucking 6'3", 6'4" kids have been here since he was 10 years old. Like, it ain't hard to, like, get some type of buzz going, you know?
Yeah, it makes sense, but you could have easily definitely stayed out of the way, like I'm sure a lot of people did. And all right, so then you get accepted to Penn State University, and I guess I could backtrack a little bit because you're right. You're still building the portfolio. Penn State was where you became the man, and I can say that like from so my partner, my girlfriend at the time in college went to Penn State. So I've been to Penn State 8 times in my college experience, and I feel like almost every time, at least one night, I linked up with you, and we had a wild ass night, like straight. Penn State is just like nothing you could imagine, and you were there for 4 years.
5 years,
Tell me about. Oh, my fault. Tell me about Penn State.
Yo, so it was the same thing. Mike Mack might be the nucleus of all this. I went to Penn State. I don't even, if I can go back, I probably wouldn't have gone to Penn State, but that's anybody. If I could go back, I would have blah, 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 X, Y, Z. But I was just shooting from the hip, applying to schools because that's what we like. At Masterman, you didn't even know that everybody else wasn't applying to college. You thought that shit was regular. You know what I'm saying? So I applied to a bunch of schools, and then we was in Mr. Gray's like computer science, like AP class, senior year, and my phone rings in class. I picked the phone up, so you see what type of time we was on in class, and it's like the Penn State admissions representative. And he's like, "Hi, Germel Ford. There's a call from Penn State." So I'm like, "Come on, cuz I'm thinking it's somebody playing on the phone because it sounds like." I wound up getting to know the guy, so it made sense then, but it didn't sound like the typical, "Hi, we're calling from Pennsylvania State University." It sounded like you called me. So I'm like, "Come on, bro, you're saying anything." He's like, "No, I'm calling we're calling to offer you admission to Penn State." So that goes on for like 30 seconds, and then Mike gets on the phone. He's like, "No, bro, stop playing like this serious." I'm like, "Oh shit, my fault." I'll turn it back on. "Hi, sir. Thank you for calling." And like, I just accepted admission. I went back to my crib. I was at my aunt's crib at the time. She gave me $300 for the admissions fee, and the phone rang. Mike Mack went there. That was the first person to contact me back. I said I accepted and went there. And then my freshman year, only person I knew was Mike Mack again. So, and Mike Mack, you talk about the mayor. Mike Mack was the mayor of Penn State. So I was the mayor in training. So Mike Mack's senior year was my freshman year. So I just had a senior year as a freshman. And then that's when you came up and linked with all of us. So you just had a senior year by association. That's the way that shit happened, like on the simplest level. And then we just took that and ran with that shit and just turned it up, like to the max.
All right, and I do want to specify that when you say Mike Mack was the mayor, I say he was the man. It was mostly of the black community in Penn State, right? Because there was like 45,000 white people that was kind of doing.
Yeah. But yo, Lo, like we would pull up at houses, like Mike Mack we had that shit popping, cause regardless of where you want to play it, like we gonna go to frat row because we had GIF over there on frat row and GIF's roommate. Like we touch all corners of Penn State, cause it is what it is. But no, it was like 8% black community. But that's where that shit was smacking for us. So,
yo, I contemplated bringing this up, but do you remember that one time that you saved my life at the Capital?
It wasn't even a Capital. It was Mike Mack's apartment.
Yo, let me remind me about that real quick. Like, I need a memory.
The night of the photograph you posted to bring notice to the podcast today, we was at Mike Mack's apartment and it was pre-gaming, but it was Mike Mack is in a fraternity and all his fraternity brothers was there. And I would just pull up because y'all not gonna get this shit smacking without me. You're not gonna get this shit smacking without my man Ian, so we in there. So then I mean, we had Major Jungle Juice upon admission to the crib.
Everclear. I remember. I very vividly remember it was Everclear Jungle Juice. I was like, y'all wild.
Yeah, that was just whatever the record. Yo, quick sidebar. The first podcast you did, I don't know the man's name offhand. Lou. He mentioned putting water in jungle juice. That was the very first time in life I ever heard or considered the idea of water in anything like juice related, bro.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, we pulled up to Mike Mac crib. We probably walked into some type of track, some type of game where we just had to drink over and over and over. So within 15 minutes, we was mangled, you was mangled, and they start getting how they get it as fraternity brothers, and you didn't know that it was a them thing. You tried to hop in the mix and pull you back like, stop. That's not what you're here for. That's not.
Yo.
He said, "Oh, we dancing?" It got up and said, "Yeah, bro, we're not dancing. Sit back."
Yo, that's really how I thought. Yo, like that's so funny.
Oh, we dancing?
I didn't even realize like they was doing like their like frat routine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I just thought they was getting it popping. I was trying to see what's up, like trying to have a good time.
You thought 10 men just broke out into the same joint in unison.
Yo, it's crazy because I was so mangled because of the Everclear. Yeah, I didn't even realize. Like I just saw movement. Reacted like.
Heavy.
All right, yo. Okay. No, this is that's the fun beginnings. Now, somewhere you graduate Penn State, and the betweens, I'm kind of don't know, kind of blurry. I'm not too sure. I know you meet a woman, have some sort of situation that leads to some other situation.
Yeah.
What goes down after Penn State?
So Penn State never really ended for us. We just moved Penn State to Philly, and then just kept that same energy going. Like it's what do you like? Got the rose-colored glasses on right now. All along, like remember that Rocky Foundation that started as a kid? That shit was just on full like wow. The thing about like Masterman, I was thinking about that. I think about that shit often, but Masterman like there's like the same way you introduced Masterman, which was you got to be the top student and this, that, and the third. It armed. I can't speak for everybody else. It armed me with like this tremendous sense of pride in like my intellect and my mind. But that wasn't enough because like I was still experiencing shit like kids experience because that's what kids do and we all go through shit. But at the same time, I was like I wasn't right. Like I was still like a sick kid. Like you see what I'm saying? Like I think that's important to note when I play into like how my life banged a quick right angle like after college. It was just like you got this kid who's just like from the inner city who's like under the full pressure of like that whole institutionalized thing, like from certain type of household, and the foundation wasn't right. I was like a sick kid, just like you can look back and see like depression and like any kid, you know what I'm saying? But with me, I think it was like a lot deeper. And then when I went to Penn State, I'm just like I didn't drink or smoke or anything until I got to Penn State. So once I started doing that, and my counselor told me don't go to Penn State because she knew my situation and she knew what Penn State was and she knew how far it was. She said, you're going to go out there. She told me that exactly what happened was going to happen. You're going to go to Penn State. You're going to lose track of your studies. You're going to just be a name on a paper. You're going to be in a classroom with 300 people and you're going to wind up turning the fuck up. And me, when I got introduced to like drugs and alcohol, that's when my life started to like shift because I started to like, you start to mash shit. You start to indulge in like the intoxication and this, that, and the third. So that's what happened after Penn State. We was just turning the fuck up. And then like, it just wasn't right, bro. I was sick. Like I was sick.
One thing I want to add, my fault, but like I feel like my trajectory was more like kind of like this with like learning and joy, and you were kind of like here, and you just jumped all the way up here, and then like kept going, and like just that kind of jumbles some things, and like you were exposed to a lot very fast, and
Yeah.
like, and also like all the benefits of that, all the fun that I feel like you kind of felt like in the past you might have missed some of that. So you were like
Funny.
really going ham at Penn State. Like there was no one like I can't even put it into words. Like, you know, I was a party dude. Like I partied my ass off. But like every time I went to Penn State, it was like, oh, this is different. And like you was like leading the charge. Like we going here. People, oh Mello, what up? Like it was like it was a different level. Like you jumped like 7 levels.
Yeah.
So just wanted to yeah. And then okay, so
And that was just. I think I can look back in hindsight. Hindsight is always 20/20. And see, like, yo, kid is just like still not right. Was just getting sicker and sicker as like I'm heavy into reincarnation, so I can, and you are, and I'm sure people who view anybody's interacting with you understands like what level we talking on now. So I'm not even going to like tiptoe. Like my soul, my soul and my spirit like required like certain experiences, bro. And I've been sick for a long time and many lifetimes and just been like a fucked up person and made fucked up decisions. And like the energy, like that energy from growing up, like, bro, I was just a liar, cheater, like a thief, like you learn that type of shit. That shit is like genetics, bro. Like, and that was like my whole fucking life. So then like you just trying to like put on and like just mash shit and let's drink and smoke and party 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 and everything is like there's no balance. And there's like, to go back to the Masterman thing, Masterman arms you with like this intellect, but the human intellect is a very sharp tool. But when you have a very sharp tool on an unstable surface, you wind up cutting shit that you weren't trying to cut. You know what I'm saying? Imagine like trying to chop shit up while you standing on a fucking, you know what I mean? And that's what, my whole life, I'm like, oh, I'm smart. I go to Masterman and everyone's so proud and blah, blah, blah. But emotionally, spiritually, like I'm ill and the intellect can't fix that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like emotionally, you're like empty, bro. Like I'm not even a person who even blames it. Like it is trauma, but it's nothing to do with like mom, dad, this, that, and the third. Like my soul, my experience, my path, my journey. I had to experience this because of X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? So I had a very sharp intellect and I'm so smart, this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. But the sharp intellect I wasn't curing anything, bro. I wasn't, that doesn't get you very far. Like the mind, it's not to take, the mind means nothing in the grand scheme of things. You know what I'm saying? Like emotional intelligence will get you a lot further. And I was just a sick kid with a sharp mind who was trying to like be the whiz kid, try to plot your way around. Like, how do I fix these things that are wrong in my life? How do I use this mind that's supposed to be so sharp because I'm so smart and I'm this, that, and the third, but it's not adding up. It's not working. And you just drink more. You just drink, let's take 20 shots. Let's take 25 shots. You know what I mean? So
I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
Very, very sharp intellect, very sharp tool on an unstable surface. You wind up cutting yourself. And that's what wound up happening. I graduated, met a wonderful woman, or, you know, like anybody you love or you view, like you think the world of, anybody you dislike, you think they're shit. So to this day, I'm like, yo, I met a very wonderful person because it's like pure bias. And that's just my truth. But then I wasn't ready. I was still the sick kid on an unstable surface. And now you go, oh, let's quit our job. Let's go to Europe. Let's turn up. And then when that shit ended, it was like, anybody who knows, like when you get a first love that was like way too crazy and that shit ends, it's like the knockout punch of all knockout punches. And that shit sent me like even deeper into like real life depression. My mind wasn't like working properly. My mind wasn't working properly probably like at Penn State, at Masterman, bro. Like I can look back now like, oh, this kid is like a fucking sociopath. He's just like blah blah blah. But then like when he's alone, he's like this. It's like two different. It's like this whole mingler thing. Like it's like, oh, we got to turn this shit up, and then turn the corner. It's like anyway, back to like how the fuck we gonna feed this? How we gonna get this? How we gonna use this mind, this intellect we got to figure shit out? But at the same time, yeah. To answer your question, it was just all too much, and then shit just exploded. And then it's not even because of that. That's just a sequence of events. And then my mind was telling me anything, yo. Like the mind will convince you anything you want to fucking hear. And now when you're dealing with like a mind that's that ill, like start telling me to do wild shit and like that same intellect. Now the intellect is sicker and sicker and sicker and giving you sicker and sicker and sicker options. Start to like do shit that you look back like, what the fuck? Like, where did you even, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that whole thing. You broke it down very eloquently, and you know, I feel like I can relate to a certain extent, and I think we've had this conversation many times that you definitely were more extreme in the version of like, I would say living like two separate lives, kind of like like you said, the mingler, like outwardly, like Mello was the man, full of energy, cool as shit. But then like inwardly, there was a lot of turbulence. Like you said, you were sick. They were going through so much, and you had no outlets on how to connect in any emotional way. And really like, and I feel like as men, most people don't. I definitely didn't, which led to my own mental breakdown that happened in my own way. But yeah, I think it's really important to talk about. And I know the next step might be really like difficult to say or talk through whatever happened. But to me, it's just your story from what happened to where you at now. It just blows my mind. So like, you get this heartbreak, the first love, and me and everyone I know, like the first heartbreak, like you said, yo, that just knocked you out. Like the first time, like when my girl in college broke up with me, like yo, I was depressed. I went through it in ways no one could ever imagine. And like I know multiple of my friends, like that first heartbreak will just do it to you. But it helped me learn, grow, become so much of a better person in my own journey. But so what? So lead me to from the heartbreak to like the event.
Yeah. So the heartbreak really is just like one or like two piece or one piece of the puzzle. The other piece is like my whole life I've been trying to figure out ways to financially take care of my sister and my little brother. Since I was, when I don't even like, my mom is great because she's her person and she who she is. This is no blame to my mother, but my mother is also a soul on a journey who is very sick as well. And I love her and wish her well, but it's just healthy to talk about that type of shit. From the time we was like kids in North Philly, like me and my sister was just like dolo on our own. So like, bro, I'm going to the Poppy store and getting chicken finger platters for me and my sister. I'm at the crib making dinner with me and my sister when I'm 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old. This is before Masterman. So I'm just like my sister's caretaker because my mother is very sick and she's a victim of the same fucking ridiculous system that's in play right now. Like the Black woman is like just trampled upon, women in general. But then I saw like the single Black woman who's sick, who was hurt along the way, who like went through her own abuses of various kind. When that woman who's in the inner city, raised by a single woman, when she has kids, bro, it's not a good look. And it's like, if I'm not a special situation, but my mother, like we said, we moved once a year and she just did what she had to do. And you can use your imagination on what that is. But I can look back and see like, damn, bro, I'm 30 now. My mom had me when she was 22. So when she was 30, bro, I was 8 and my sister was 3. What the, like, and she's still sick and uneducated. My mom, I think, dropped out of high school. So no education, no real skills or trade. Like, how do you take care of children? How do you exist in the world? Like, how do you even make a play? So when that woman has kids and like she's on drugs, she's addicted to alcohol. And it's like, these are things where it's like, I'm not blaming her. It's like, damn, I can see how I inherited the addictive gene. You know what I'm saying? The same way you can come to Penn State and it's like, yo, Mello, turning this shit up. Let's take 30 shots. It's like, in the moment, it's like, yo, this shit lit. In reality, it's like, damn, bro, that's like alcoholism. Like that shit, alcoholism with Chris Brown as the soundtrack. Like, that don't make it not like, those are the things that I'm trying to realize. But as a kid, like, my mom's always gone. So it was always me and my sister. Always, bro. Like, I'm taking my sister to school. I'm leaving school, going to pick her up. And that's my entire childhood. And I went to Masterman. And to this day, I think that's where my sister, like, I got away. I went to Masterman and I got around like amazing people and amazing friends. And I got around their families and it kind of took me away from my family. So I was never home and my sister got stuck. Like, I made it out because of Miss Kennedy and the great people who got me to Masterman. When you're a kid in the inner city, there's no difference between me and any other kid. There are a lot of smart kids, but it's opportunity. So I got the opportunity to leave. My sister didn't get that shit and she got lost and is currently fighting against becoming the new and improved version of that same lineage she comes from. Mm-hmm. And then my mother had a son. And bro, this is like, I've always like, I was always this close to like going to prison or going to jail. My mom had a child by a man. And perhaps, I'm not sure. We think he passed away now. My little brother's father. I have a little brother named Nigel, and we think his father's passed away now. But he was never someone you like consciously. I'm going to have a child with this man because I see our lives playing out in this way. That's not the way it was. It was we getting it. We got paid a sprint. We got like, what's up? What you going to do for me? And that's the hustle my mom had to do. I can see that as a queen. It's like, damn, it's fucked up, but I understand because if you knew better, you would do better. You know what I mean? Like, she did what she had to do. But my whole life is just me as the intellectual, smart kid taking care of two siblings. And it's like half the time I'm there, half the time I'm not. And that thing just doesn't go off. Like, any dollar I get just goes to them. Anytime I don't even know where I'm getting money from. Anytime I'm gifted $100, my mom wants to borrow 75, or we need money for the lights. Like, every single dollar I ever obtained, bro, before a college refund at Penn State went to my mom. She may have did what and it's like one of those like, Mel, let me get $40. And it's like, to do what with? What you gonna say no to your mom? Like it's like, all right, here, or like your siblings need this, your siblings need that. And it's like, bro, that was the thing that on the Unrocky Foundation just fucking tweaked my mind. And that's, bro, I was like 10 years straight of just like the whole Masterman. It's just like, yo, how do I even like survive? Like, how do we even fucking eat at night? Like, how do we? And it's like, and I'm saying that not the, oh, it's Germel story. It's like, yo, that is what it's like. You asked me what it was like growing up in North Philly. That's what it's like when you're in these cities. Like, when you're in Philly and you're in Chicago and you're in like LA, like not Melrose, like when you're in like these inner cities that are like trampled upon, like these scripted like projects and these the way we have to live, like that's what the experience is like. And there are people out here right now who have it a million times worse than we did. So, and you wonder why like the society's fucked up and the kids are saying this, that, and the third in their raps. And like, bro, we're sick. We don't know what the fuck is going on. We're mentally fucked over. So that was my play my entire life. And then moving up to college, a heartbreak. And I get a fucking phone call from my little brother. And he's like, Mel, I can't read. So I'm thinking he'd been like, Nigel, stop playing. So I fucking race over to my mom's crib. Unfortunately, like, bless her, I love her. She's passed the fuck out. My little brother has fucking eaten drugs. Not like, I don't know what white substance she got right there, but She's passed out, and my little brother has like ingested this shit, and he can't breathe. So now this motherfucker is, he's on my lap. I'm in a fucking car that I borrowed from my roommate, and we're racing to the fucking hospital. Left her there, like just pure bitter disrespect. I wish I would go back and change that. Left her there. This is like still the mind warp of depression and bipolar and fucking sociopathic. Like this kid has just made it this far. But now to see that shit, the day after that shit, my mind instantly went to like, yo, how do we get out of this shit? And I'm not even thinking short term. Let's go get a job and budget 30% to savings and 30% to utilities and 12% to pleasantries. No, I'm thinking, no, fuck this shit. This shit going on too long. How do we get out of this shit today? We run in the bank. And I can look back now and say, what the fuck, bro? But I'm looking back now with this mind. Somebody who's sick don't got this mind. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking, yo, how do we, but I'm also in the black nationalist phase and all these like Christopher Columbus stole this shit and blah, blah, blah. Like when you, as a black kid, you start to learn about how the world works. You're like, yo, everything they got, they stole. Everything they got, they took. Everything we celebrate was a robbery, a killing, a bombing. Like the whole world is running on the same type time I'm on. Run it. Run that shit. And I can look back now like, damn, I can see the energy, but that's still a choice that, bro, that's not what you do. But only after you do it, it's like, oh, that's drawing. But it's like, if you fucking pull it off, it's like, oh, like now you just, but you can't think like that. And that's how I was thinking. So I fucking attempted to rob a bank. But, and there was nothing anybody could say to talk me out of that shit. It was just a lifetime of just that, the way of thinking, bro. Like, it wasn't, yo, let's start hustling, let's go rob the corner store, let's scam. Like, it was, no, we need a large amount of money right now because I'm about to move to Washington, D.C. Me, my brother, and my sister about to get a crib. This lady who I was in love with, you coming with me because your circumstances, you want to get away from what you want to get away from. So we about to solve all these problems with one hit. And it was at the point where it's kind of like, and if it all else fails, like whatever. Like what's worse than, that's a dangerous point to be at when you say like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm about to go to prison. Like, oh well, like you just wrapped out at that point. And that's a hell of a, oh well, but 1,000,000%, it was like, why would that be worse than what we going through right now? Like the risk is 1,000,000 times worth it. Like, oh, this thing gives us the potential to never feel this again. Bet it. You don't even think about it's just like you back anybody to a corner, you don't know how to act. But even to the level of like that same, I've always been like no balance, no foundation, extreme. We not taking one shot, two shot. We taking 20 shots. We not doing enough Molly for me and you. Me and you doing enough Molly for 10 people. We're not taking one LSD tab. We taking 5 each. Fuck a gram of shrooms. We both about to take a quarter. Like it's this thing of like just all in for what, bro? And it's just that maximum thinking, just domino affected to, all right, we need bread, maximum thinking. And I tried to rob a bank, failed at robbing a bank, and then that's that dot for you.
Wow. First, I just gotta thank you for like, you just gave your heart, your soul, every ounce of your being into like explaining your perspective, and it's just it connect with me so deeply. I really feel like, damn, like the whole world need to like hear this story, yo. I feel like so many people could benefit. It's so real, and I never like. This is like the realest you ever painted it for me. I got the story in like different pieces here and there, but just like hearing like with the passion flat out, like the visceral emotions and like the reasoning behind it. Whoo! like, damn, it makes so much sense. Um, it's like, I don't even want to say it's sad. It's like you said in the beginning, all these experiences were like for a reason, for a purpose. Um, but yeah, I can't imagine where you were at to just be like, we robbing a bank, and then just like to pull up to a bank and try to like take the money. Like, I
And whole
mean, whew, you got it.
the thing is, like, that maximum way of thinking, like, I'm not even like glorifying, yo, rob the bank. But
Facts.
the plan motherfuckers had succeeded. Like, the bank was robbed clean as day. I walked in and caught an audible within fucking 45 seconds, had all the money in all, like, it wasn't some like, yo, we about to get on dope and go shoot from the hip. This shit was like that same intellect. We planned this shit out. And that shit went the way it was supposed to go, but the maximum way of thinking fucked it up again on some, you got what you got, now get out. No, I'm on some open the vault. And I'm sitting, bro, we in court, my lawyer, the other, what do you call it, district attorney plays the fucking tape. Within 45 seconds, had $50,000 in a bag. I waited 8 minutes for them to try to open a vault. The police station was fucking 3 blocks away. So motherfuckers waited 8 minutes for the police to come 3 blocks just to, all that for what?
To get some more.
It's like, it's not glorifying, but it's like the way motherfuckers not even thinking clearly. Like, you did all that and then called the audible for what, bro? Like, what's this greed? What's this, like, now I'm like, it's just, it was bad. But, yeah, there's no but.
So,
It just wasn't
right. Yeah, bro, we going for the long haul. We like 45 in, but we just going like, we ain't stopping. Fuck it. We might go two, like, fuck that, 2.5. They going this needs to be heard. Woo, damn, bro, that's so crazy. Just trying to imagine you in the bank, like with the bread, like, oh my god. Okay, so they catch you, you get put in jail, and then like you got on bail because like how'd you get on bail? Like some interesting way.
Some a friend of mine named Kim just paid my bail, so I was just out, and it was like that was just like the one of the things in my life was just pure luck, bro. Just being good to people always played out for me. So a good friend of mine, Kim, who at the time wasn't even a good friend, it was just like a neighbor who used to come turn up with us. And she said I made an impression upon her because she came to our crib and I was hospitable to her. I welcomed her. You need something? I just kept checking on her, blah, 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 because that's what I would do. I'm just, y'all in my crib, let's have a good time. You need anything, blah, blah, blah. And she lived down the block. And she said from that moment, like, it was just, oh, Mello need this and the third. I got it. And she paid the bail for me to get out. I sat in there for like 3 weeks, and then Kim paid the bail, and then I was just out as if it never happened.
Damn. And then she might as well. Then you was pretty much like, fuck it, we out.
Yeah, at that point, it's like once I'm out, it's like, oh, I'm not going back in there because y'all about to roof me. Like, any movie, any TV show, any book, you see somebody rob the bank, what's the numbers that follow?
It's like 30 to 40, like
15 to 30, 8 to 16, like wow shit. So I'm like, yo, but the crazy thing about it is that whole wobbly foundation, the minute them fucking bars, boom, close, I swear on everything I love, bro, I snapped out of it. It took like the big bang, like the boom. I literally in that moment learned my lesson. And you can say that because it's like, damn, I'm salty, but like something about sitting in that fucking cell, you're like, yo, now everything slowed down. You're like, yo, what just happened? How did that happen that fast? Why did it happen? And it was so I sat there and bro. But then that was all these experiences were just so necessary for my spirit, bro. It's like now I'm in maximum security prison with murder, like bank robbers are on the same level as murderers and like whoever the highest level security, like that motherfucker has zero risk of escaping. That's where the bank robber goes. So now for 3 weeks, I'm just sitting amongst murders and killers and drug deal, like all that. And they looking at me like I'm crazy. They like, what you in for? Like, I'm trying to rob a bank. And it's just, to this day, the average person asks me what I did. I say I robbed a bank. And they're like, well, you play too much. Stop playing. Because it's like, it's so unfathomable or fathomable. So I'm in there for 3 weeks with, they like, yo, they call me professor. I'm in there with glasses on, just reading books and shit like that. Yo, this nigga think he Malcolm, like the professor. What you do, professor? He probably you a scammer, ain't you? They think I'm playing with credit cards and shit like that. No, I robbed the bank. I tried to rob a bank. They like, yo, this boy shot the fuck out the whole time. He a double murderer. I'm shot out. It's just the way people think. You know what I'm saying? So I was in there for 3 weeks.
I don't, dog. I can't.
Just experience like I don't know. But then I saw myself in 30 different men. And it's like, damn, we all the same. We all here for one reason. We all made a bad decision, all coming from the same place. Where you from? North. Where you from? South. Where you from? The bottom. Where you from? And it's just like, oh, everybody from Philly, from the same shit, the same bad decisions, the energy caught up to all of us. But we all the same people. We all here. We all, damn, we want to make a phone call, babe. We want to go home. All that tough shit go right out the window when you are just stuck in prison, bro, or jail before that. So I wasn't trying to go back to that shit. But it also, it's the intellect plays into it too. It's never random, bro. It was ill and foul and stupid, but you just know how law works. You know how the shit go. You know how much time it takes for shit to run out. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like I'm about to run forever, but also know that like y'all can't, there's nothing, I can go where I want to go. Y'all not going to stop me. Like once you're out on bail, unless you're on a no-fly list, you can go place to place. So then me and Kim was on some we out. Kim trying to go to Peru. So then me and Kim pull up to Peru. Kim let me stay at her crib. Like I'm on the run. They at my grandma's crib. They looking all over the place. And I'm just, whatever, y'all, I'm not going because I refuse to go back. And it's just fear. There's also like, it just still don't seem like how this shit was supposed to go, yo. Like it doesn't, the story don't end like this. So then me and Kim traveled to Peru together. And I knew you can get on the airplane. There's no, people think, how'd you travel? And it's like, like half the world hates the United States. You think they give a fuck about their on the run citizens? If Russia don't fuck with us, you think Russia's really, hey, United States, we got your guy here. Hey, pull up and tell us everything you know type shit. Like not really, but that's the way it works. And I knew that I was on county bail. I hadn't been convicted of a crime yet. So technically I'm just a guy who missed court and there's a warrant out for my arrest. I'm not a bank robber who has a warrant out for his arrest. I'm a guy who missed court, who's been accused of robbing a bank, and I haven't been convicted yet. So then I knew with that on my record, I can travel where I wanted to go. And I was just going to run it until it was over. So we went to Peru.
Okay. Man, to get to Peru, I feel like within a couple of days, you go to some crazy festival, right?
Oh, Mount Markawasi. I think that's what it's called.
You might as well just, there's not much I need to say. So you go, what happens in Peru, dog? Because this shit gets even crazier.
It did happen the way it played out. We was in Peru for a little minute. We wound up going to some psychedelic festival up in the mountains of like 14,000 feet up in there. We went to some psychedelic festival, which was fire. Once I started traveling, bro, I began the healing process of that sick kid. It was crazy, the circumstances under which it had to come. And I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just saying that once I took my own well-being and my own inner engineering into my own hands. It was crazy that it took that, but that thing led me to, all right, bet now we traveling. Now you're starting to come across different people. Now you're starting to learn more about yourself. Now you're starting to go to these festivals. Now you meet Virginia. Now you meet Guillermo. Now you're just meeting people from around the world, and you're starting to heal. And now you're starting to get outside the fishbowl. You're not in North Philadelphia anymore. You're not. It was like a very like, it's a selfish thing too, because that same level of like sister and brother, I just didn't have anything for him at that point. So I kind of left that all behind too. And it was like I had to focus on me in order to like become this person who's able to help them now. That was the beginning of like that phase. So he's in Peru. We meet Virginia. No, we was in Pucallpa first. We was doing ayahuasca heavy. And as you've taught me, like unwarranted and uneducated, honestly, like probably wasn't the best thing, but we worked at a ayahuasca festival, or not a festival, a retreat for a while. Then we wound up linking with Virginia. Virginia's like, I'm trying to build this off the grid commune, and was it Contamina? I thought it was Contamana, but you say Contamina and Contamina. So I'm in Peru for 8 months with Virginia, this old Austrian woman who has, however she got her wealth, she's pouring it into building up this off the grid community in Peru. Or that was what she told us. So we built a school, we built like 10 or 15 houses. You can give context. You were in Contamina most recently, but the story she painted and the circumstances of what they were going on, I would just wake up in the morning, 5 a.m. She gave me a pickup truck. I would honk the horn. Dudes would come out the crib, and we'd drive 10 miles to the jungle, and they would just work. And that was my life for 8 months in Peru. Just get up at 5 a.m. We taking a cold shower. We meditating, started to do yoga at that point, starting to step into like spirituality, starting to be a seeker. We in the jungle, we have late nights, stuff like that. But that led us to Contamina and our time with Virginia.
Contamana or Contanama, yeah. God knows how I say it right. I did spend some time there, and it was a very interesting experience. But I feel like we don't even got to hear about that. I just want to, there's so much. I could talk about that in another John. So you kind of breezed over, and if you don't want to get too into it, that's cool. These ayahuasca ceremonies, and
Yeah.
you did ayahuasca a number of times. I guess like what was it like? How many?
25 times.
So you did ayahuasca 25 times. That is mind blowing. I mean, speak on that. Speak on the first time. Speak on whatever. How did ayahuasca influence you and your life?
So we was looking for ayahuasca just coming off the psychedelic wave we was on. We was doing LSD and shrooms heavy. And you know what that does to the mind and the spirit. So we thought the next step was like, all right, bet. They say that ayahuasca is like plant medicine. So who knows, like the shit you see on shrooms and LSD, you're like, all right, now you start to see the world the way your truth says it is, because we all see different things when we into those type of things. But your world starts to slow down a little bit. You start to be able to see the symbols and synchronicities and stuff like that. And ayahuasca became, we were with a shaman at a retreat, and they say it's not what you want, it's what you need. So traditionally, it's a plant medicine, like a very thick brew that they contract from whatever plant, maybe the ayahuasca tree. Don't quote me on that, but they give it to you, and it unlocks a portion of the mind. So like, let's just say for visual purposes, Ian got 6-year-old Ian, or Ian has this corner of his mind where he tucks away all the shit that he don't want to address. And he got that shit locked. Drink ayahuasca, you win a ceremony, you with the shaman, they leading you through that. Ayahuasca gonna walk you right to that door unlock it, and you walk right in that door. Like, oh, it's in here. But now you can see those things from your own point of view. So I'm face to face with things that I put away in that room when I was 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. But now I got a 26-year-old mind. So now you get to go through these things over and over again. And now you're starting to come to new realizations about those things. And as soon as you come to a realization about one of those things, you purge. You let the shit go. That's what my experience was. I was like, damn, I was looking at this way. Cool. Now I have one opportunity. Cool. Rethink it. Come to a new realization. You come to a new realization, and then you let go of the old realization, the realization you had that was holding you back or hindering you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's super interesting. Yeah, I feel like I get every time we talk about your experience with ayahuasca, I get a new insight. I love that. Then I want to. Oh yeah, so it's interesting. The way you put it is so eloquent. By the way, recently, so you know Naomi, and if you watched the last episode, Naomi is a spiritual healer who answered questions, and I asked her whether I should do ayahuasca, and surprisingly, she actually said no. She said that like it would pretty much bring up like a boatload of darkness that my being in my body potentially wouldn't be able to handle, and it could actually like kind of like make me backtrack in a certain sense. And she said that like the spiritual path of healing that I need to walk on, I'm walking on, and I don't like I can everything that ayahuasca can do, we can do with ourselves.
Right.
Ayahuasca just like you said, it just goes right to the door where our lifetime is like, I mean, speaking for me, speaking for whatever, is learning to getting to know myself and unlocking these doors to my emotions, to my feelings, to my spirituality. But it's a process that I've been going through, and like I'm at a pace that's cool, and ayahuasca might just speed that joint up to an extent that I'm not ready to get into, which was very interesting. So for now, I'm gonna chill off the ayahuasca, but
Yeah,
25
that
times.
definitely was not the ayahuasca promo. That was just the next
Right.
in the story. Like, I'm definitely not telling anybody to go do ayahuasca. It's like, do what you're gonna do. But the next chapter of my book went to me doing ayahuasca a number of times and purging a lot. Like, it did bring up a lot of darkness, but I guess I was able to harness that shit and do what I was meant to do with it and keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing. All right, push. Somehow, after Peru, you end up in Germany?
Bremen.
Beeman. Willie Beeman. How the fuck you end up in
Yeah.
Germany?
In Peru, I met a woman named Rosa Rinaldi. Rosa Rinaldi was a 45-year-old, no, maybe 50-year-old Peruvian woman who had moved to Germany years ago, got married, and had a son. Rosa suffered from bipolar disorder. That was my first time ever encountering somebody with bipolar disorder, and wound up being the first peg on my own journey to find like, oh, you identify with that as well. That was sources like as I'm starting to purge everything from the ayahuasca, now life is slowing down and now I can see the symbols and the synchronicities at play. I meet Rosa. Rosa just takes to me the way I've been used to being taken to. We just have a great time. We're in Tarapoto in Peru, where she's there to do ayahuasca. She's in a backpacker hostel. We just hostel to hostel, not the spooky US movie version of hostel. These are like amazing places where we land in this hostel and now you got 10 people just like you from different places around the world who are all sharing a room. We're going to go out dancing. We're going to go out and have a drink. We're going to go out and go hiking. We're going to go to the festival together, this, that, and the third. But we met Rosa, and Rosa was in the same hostel as us. And she said, Melo, Melo, baila, baila. How you say dancing in Spanish? Baila, right?
Oh, bailando.
Bailando, bailando. She said, let's go dancing. And she had so much joy. And then she's like, bro, we couldn't even communicate. I'm in Peru that long and still can only understand Spanish. So I would just type on my phone and then show it to her. She said, and then she would type on the phone and show it back to me. So you got like this buddy comedy of me and this Peruvian woman who has spent the last 30 years in Germany, and we're just out and about, and Kim's there, and a couple of our friends are there. We're still in the mix. Well, then Rosa's like, if you're ever in Germany, Mello, please, come visit. I said, are you sure? She said, Mello, please, it would like be offensive if you ever came to Germany and didn't come see me. I said, are you sure? Do you really need that? But so I wound up leaving Peru and then going to Bremen. That's where she lived. And then she's like, oh, Mello. So she gave me like a whole apartment in Bremen, Germany. Like I don't know why she had several properties, but her son was like a 19-year-old German kid, and he had an apartment. So then, but me and her son wound up spending 3 months together, just kicking it. My man Patrick. One day I want to link up with Patrick again. Patrick was Rose's son, but I got to Germany, and I learned more about Rosa through Patrick. Patrick would say my mother's very sick. She would go in and out of the hospital. She had bipolar. She kept checking herself in. She said, Mello, the meds don't make me feel good, blah, blah, blah. So me and Rose are doing, we're doing yoga. I'm trying to like put her on. Like, no, you don't have to. If the medicine doesn't make you feel good or you feel bad going to the hospital, I can tell you, we can start the healing process together. I'm just being overzealous, like anybody else would. But for 3 months, I was just in Germany, kicking it with Rosa, kicking it with Patrick. Me and Patrick are tripping on LSD together. I'm talking to him. He's like, my mother, I don't want to. This guy, most people when you travel, you get people who aren't native English speakers, and then their line is, my English is not very good. And then they'll go speak fluent English to you, more proper than you do. So he's like, you have to help me. What do I say to my father? Like the people I were meeting along the way were just like, it was all in a higher purpose. So you have to help me figure out what to tell my father. I do not want to go to the university, and my mother will understand, but my father, he wants me to go to university, but I would like to take a break year and do what you're doing. You see how you're here? I would like to be there. And he said, I'm sorry, my English is not very good, but I'm like, Patrick, you're good, bro. Like your English is phenomenal. But it was just like, I really spent like 3 months in solitude in North Germany. Just because Patrick would go out and about, and I would just go out and about sometime. But I really was just in the apartment for 3 months. Like I found Sadhguru, which is like a guru I follow to this day, which is like an Indian yogi. I found like spirituality. I found like meditation and yoga, and it was like my own like isolation, like self-imposed solitude happened in like North Germany. And actually, Naomi told me that I had a previous life experiences in Germany. Like these places I were going to weren't just by chance. Like I had like open doors that I had to close or closed doors that whatever. I had dots I had to connect in these places. So I'm in Bremen, Germany, in the dead of winter. Everybody's wearing all black. Everybody's like super traditionally German. I'm tall. I got their freeform locks. I got a yellow jacket. They all think I play for the basketball team. Kids are like, autograph. They think I'm like when you don't make it to the league out here, you go out there and play. So everybody, I actually looked like I was supposed to be out there. I got this big ass backpack. They're like, basketball. I'm like, no, just out here. They're like, whatever, cuz I understand. Whatever, boy.
Whoo, that sounds like an amazing 3 months.
Facts.
All right, man. To keep the train moving. So you have this solitude in Germany. I'm sure you learn a lot about yourself and life. And then, excuse me if I'm wrong, somehow you end up in Jamaica?
Well, that was after I met a guy. The story. I met a guy.
Let's go. New story.
What is his name? Baptiste. Baptiste. A guy named Baptiste in Germany. He had an apartment in Marseille, France. He also had a large, like, Mercedes-Benz SUV, not SUV, like the big truck with like the bed in the back and like the kitchen in the back, whatever you call those. He had one of those, but Baptiste was traveling out of the country. He needed that vehicle to get to his space in France.
Okay.
Then I had met him from like time in Germany. She's like, you take this, you drive my car down to France. My apartment's there. Kick it, say as long as you need. Just please park it there. I'll pay you. I put the car on BlaBlaCar. BlaBlaCar is a website in Europe where I can say I'm traveling from North Germany to the south of France. Anyone that needs a ride, pull up, let me know where you are. I'll pick you up. You just pay me gas money and whatever you think you feel fit. It's like something I've never seen before except in Europe.
Yeah,
so
wow.
The ride is Melo's going from Bremen, Germany to Marseille, France in this large vehicle. Anyone needs a ride along the way, hit me up. So now there's a road trip before Jamaica from Bremen to Marseille, and we're picking people up. We're picking Europeans up along the way. We're kicking it. We're doing the whole road trip thing that they do in the movies, bro. Is people are sleeping in the back. People are pulling over. We're smoking joints. We're just living. People are playing guitar. And you know how life is. You meet everybody you're supposed to meet. And that's what happened on the trip from Bremen to Marseille. The long ass road trip. We pull over to a hostel here. We pull over to the hotel here. We just made a whole trip of it. Dropped that joint off. Kicked it in France for a little bit. And then my uncle has like a few restaurants and like real estate in Jamaica. So I hit him up and said, at this point, I'm really just bouncing around and staying in places as long as they'll allow you to stay. You can't just go to France and stay there forever. You got 90 days, get out. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You got Peru, leave and come back. You figure out ways to stay. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I got to get to Jamaica. I FaceTime my uncle. He said, when you get here, take that freak ass nose ring out. Man, don't do that here. Like I said, less, say less. He's just super alpha male. Like he's my little cousin's dad. He's Guyanese, but he was in Jamaica. He had a little situation in Jamaica for me, but he was like, he said, leave the nose ring in England. Man, don't do that here. I said, my fault, cuz. Pulled up to Jamaica. Jamaica was where I really became like fearless, because I'm out Jamaica. I'm eating like Rasta. That's what I was full identifying with, the Rasta lifestyle. I still do. Like we all do. It's the same truth. It's just dressed differently across the board. So I was with the Rasta lifestyle. I had the freeform locks. I'm then listening to Bob Marley. We smoking hella weed. I'm getting up 4:30 in the morning, running on the beach. We're running 5, 6, 7, 8 miles every single morning in the deep sand with the Rastas, because we building our spirit. Like it's just like I found like brotherhood and community down there. Like they took me under the wing. They're like, oh, Germel. They say Germel. Where you going, eh? So I'm eating the vegan like Ital Rasta diet. We drinking coconut water after we run. I turn to a lion down there, like a dog. Like, you know, Jamaicans are like alpha males anyway, and I don't mean to like falsely categorize or like box them in. I mean that in like the best way. But I'm down there for 3 months again. That was my whole thing. I'm saying 3 months. We kicking it. I'm down there at just living, bro. Like just experiencing like freedom and bliss. And by this time, I no longer feel like that sick kid. I no longer feel like all the healing that like I needed to do was still happening. I want to make that scene. It wasn't like some dude was wild and he did some nut shit and went on a run and was just still on nut shit. Like along the way, I put my 10,000 hours in of like spirituality and like full, like I can yoga with the best of them now. I can meditate with the best. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my focus. I was just doing it across around the world. So I'm in Jamaica, we running, we just with the men for real, the Rasta men. And that was the experience while in Jamaica. Like we still getting up early. At that point in time, in Jamaica, I was getting up at 3:30 a.m. every day. Because that guru says if you can get up between 3:20 and 3:30 every day, you align your clock with the Earth's clock. And that's a fact. Anybody out there who's interested, you look it up. Like 3:30 every day, you can align. Like to make that a habit, you align your clock with that of the Earth's. So at that point in time in Germany, in Jamaica, for like a year and a half straight, I'm up at every day, 3:30 a.m., cold shower, yoga, meditation, reading. I did all the reading and like that. You know, every seeker has the way their path plays out, how they find and step into truth. Mine happened like in a backpack and around the world with old ass like Apple laptop PDF books and stuff like that. So I was healing along the way, for sure.
Man, yo, I'm telling you, this movie would be wild, bro. Like this one would be a fucking certified classic. All right, and then Jamaica, my bad, but you decided to go back to the States, right?
Yeah.
All right. Why'd you decide that? And I know you hit up New York. That's where we linked up. Had the epic link up, and then spent some time in LA. Just, tell me about what going back to the States was like.
I think I was just, for one, running out of money because I had like a source of funds that wasn't going to last forever. People ask like, "How'd you travel? How'd you do that?" Shit like that. It's just like just blessed and resources through like the situation we was in Peru, and then Kim and friends and shit like that. But Virginia, big time Virginia, there. But you just run out of money. You can't just fucking globetrot forever. So I was like, bet. I said, by this point, I'm like, yo, there's no way they're even looking for me no more. Like, I'm really convincing myself, like, yeah, there's no way like this. I'm sure they are, but like, I'm gonna go back to the United States, and if they let me back in the United States, then it's dead. Like, it's water under the bridge. He had a bad day. Like, no, that quote there. So I went in through Florida, and nothing happened. So I'm like, how after all this time am I still able to just like come and go as I please? So I went to New York, linked with a homie Ish. You don't know Ish, but you met Ish at the festival.
Yeah.
Ish was staying out in New York. She was in Washington Heights. Then she had then I moved down to Harlem. I've been around. I really was I was at the back. I was out Harlem because with ASAP and them. 133rd and Broadway. And then yeah, I was just around because I didn't want to go back to the city. And then Ish was in New York. So I was just kicking it. We was around. And then we met up at Afro Punk. I still remember you remember Anderson?
Oh, right.
Bro, Anderson .Paak, like with the New York skyline in the back as the sun setting, is still like top 3 memories I've ever had at like any music concert, bro.
That's fire. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I kind of slept on that, John. Like, I ended up seeing it from like way in the back. But like, I saw him a couple times. He just puts on a show regardless.
Yeah, we saw him at the Roots Picnic too. I saw you down there.
Yeah, exactly. Been around. So you're back in New York, and now at this point you writing, right? Writing some.
I've been writing. Yeah, I was writing before the Mingler. Like the Mingler shit was like the beginning of, yo, I'm about to make a career out of this. Like, this is what I'm trying to do. Whether Like I got a script now if you want to read it while you're down there. If I know you, but that was my whole thing. I'm studying, I'm seeking, and I'm writing, and that's what I've been doing consistently for the last 7-8 years. So even though in prison, bro, like there wasn't a day that went by. I wish you could meet the people I was in there with. They like, yo, this boy, like they call me the mad scientist. Like my fucking cell just got piles of notebooks and pens and books being sent in. It's just like you make what you make of that shit.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, let's get into that. Fuck it. Get into LA. Start a little life. Talk about LA as much as you like, and then what?
The LA years.
The LA. It was a couple years.
No, but that's what we was referring to it as.
Facts.
I was on my auto rocket shit out there. We was surfing, just living, bro. Just whatever. Every day was a good day out there. It was just like that's when we started stepping into joy and shit like that. But shit came to a halt too in LA.
So what happened?
Definitely had a little confidential informant that found out I was in LA.
What?
And yeah, that's how I got booked. Confidential informant.
I never heard that part.
Yeah, there was a party with a vested interest in me being arrested. It's a whole. We'll get into it later, but there was someone who had a vested interest in the county I was arrested in. Confidential informant, like in that county, you give us information, we'll let you off the hook for that shit. So, confidential informant found out I was in LA, and then I wasn't hiding. So if you look me up in LA, you gonna find me. That's fucking Duck the Bounty Hunter pulled up, and it was over.
So, what happened? They just booked you?
I was on the way to work. I worked at a little Japanese sandwich spot, and I was about to start working. I was working at a couple of restaurants. I had work that day, like at my second job. So I was just in the mix, getting paid good money, blah, blah, blah. So I go to the parking garage to like 7 o'clock in the morning. I leave the crib. In case you got the crib on Main Street, downtown loft. Like we just in the bubble again. Like I leave the crib, go across the street to the parking garage. I go to the 5th floor, beep the key to the car, but you know how you beep it, it's not on that floor. I hear it, but it's floors below. So I'm like, oh, it's on the 3rd floor. I get back in the elevator, get off on the 3rd floor, beep the joint again. It's like, oh, it's over there. So I walk up to the car, touch the doorknob, and instantly like 5 cars pull up. They all pull their guns out. It's like 15 dudes, guns pointed at me like, Germel 4, fucking freeze, get the fuck on the ground, blah, blah, blah. Like, imagine what you can use your imagination and the shit that they're yelling. I'm like, what the fuck? You're under arrest, blah, 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 blah. And I just like, well, I fainted for real. I think he's like, stand the fuck up, you're a man. I'm like, bro, hold on. I hear what you're saying, but like, you just like the shock of like the century, yo. Like, relax. So you put me back in the car. I'm really just like stuck. I'm like, oh shit. And they like, they take my picture. It was like, verify with the informant. And then they waited for a little. I'm sitting in handcuffs. They wait for a little bit. It's like, copy. And then they take me. It was just bounty hunters. They weren't no cops. It was just a third party service. I was hired to pick me up. And they picked me up. And I sat in the fucking LA County jail, which is trash, bro. Like Compton, like where them boys is going. Like, sat there for like a month before Pennsylvania came to get me. And then I went on a 16-day expedition or extradition, where I got extradited. You know what that is?
Yeah, like, not that I can explain it in a good way.
Yeah, that just like if Pennsylvania coming to get you, they're gonna come get you and take you back to Pennsylvania how they see fit. Normally they come get you from that far in an airplane. In my case, they came in a fucking white van, and it was like criminal Uber. Like we drove from California to Pennsylvania along the way, picking people up, drop people off, picking people up, drop people off. So it took 16 days in the back of a pitch black van to get from California to Pennsylvania. And that was an experience in itself.
Dying, I can't even imagine, bro. Can't even imagine.
Go stand in your closet, shackled, deservingly so. So no boohoo, but like you fucking make your bed, you lay in it. The bed I had to lay in was shackled at your feet, ankles, wrists, and just go stand in your closet for 16 days, and we'll let you out once every 12 hours to go piss. While this fucking van is fucking freezing cold, and you're getting one sandwich like 3 times a day. Like just go to McDonald's every meal. They open a slot in the back, and they literally just like chuck sandwiches in the back. Like, you fucking pieces of shit. Like, so just McChicken or cheeseburger 3 times a day for 16 days, pitch black. The dumb shit. Like, this experience is just like, yo, the energy caught up to me. It was like, damn, this is what you get.
Damn, dog. I'm like speechless, my G. I ain't hear that part neither, bro. 16 days and I can't. All right, bro. I don't even know what to say. Like, and now it's time. Like, you about to meet the bars. Like, it's jail for you. Like,
but by the time I got back, the whole thing is when I came back, they brought me to court for missing a court date. You don't get in trouble. It's like, where the hell was you at? Like, by the time I got back to Pennsylvania, the judge I had and a district attorney I had both retired. And my case was just some case on the bottom of the like stacking shit on the desk. So I got a brand new judge, a brand new district attorney, and I was able to get, like, Casey's parents hooked me up with like the bulldog lawyer of Montgomery County. So I get the judge who's just like, Mr. Ford, what'd you do? So I did. He's like, well, that wasn't very smart. Says here, you got a college degree. The guy just like extremely lenient. I got this good lawyer in the DA, so they're like, all right, well, I'm thinking they about to, oh, you wanted to act crazy. So take that 30 to 40 and add all the time you was gone, put that on the back end. They're like, nah, go to boot camp. And Pennsylvania has a boot camp program where it's, if you can complete the boot camp program, you get out of jail in 6 months. So that's what, like, give thanks. Like, God's the greatest for sure. Like, I got assigned to go to boot camp after all that shit. That whole wild ride, robbed the bank, went on a run, came back. Judge looks at me. For some reason that day, must have been having a great day. The lawyer did whatever she did, money talk in Pennsylvania. So get a good lawyer, you get the good results. And I got sent to boot camp up Cohana, Pennsylvania. So I was at boot camp for 6 months. So essentially exactly what it sounds like. You get up at 5, you just doing PT. It's like military boot camp. You got these guys who are in the Navy, who are in the Marines, who are in the Army, who now their side gig after being discharged is to be boot camp instructors. So you've seen Full Metal Jacket or any military movie or show. That's exactly what we had to do. But they know that your freedom is in the balance here. So you want to go home, they're going to make it real hard for you. But by that point, I'm a lion, bro. Like, I'm fearless. Like, the bank itself took all fear, the notion of fear, away from me. So, and I didn't went around the world. I didn't train with the roster. So now I'm the boot camp guidon bearer. I was the one who held the flag. I'm leading the guys every day. Every day I get to talk to, there's 50 people in my platoon. I'm the platoon, essentially team captain. They call me, I'm Ford. My vest has Ford on the back. Everybody got their last name on the back. Every day they kicking our ass. Down up, sir 1, sir. Down up, sir 2, sir. And he gonna run you. We run every morning. We doing all type of physical training. And it's like, they trying to make you quit. They talking crazy to you. They don't want you to go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still that same system. They don't want to see a bunch of y'all like dudes, criminals go home. Oh, y'all. They look at it like the judge will let y'all off the hook. Y'all think y'all can do what the fuck y'all want. Not on our watch. So go home at your own, like, earn it then. And just so my experience, I wound up being the guy who every day I got 45 minutes to talk to the platoon. Ford, your show, 4:00 every day. We running this shit. Out of 50 dudes, you get pride for graduating as many as you can. We graduated 48. Average platoon graduates 23, 24. They running these dudes. People are signing out. If you sign out, you got to go back and do the rest of your time. So I got sentenced to 48 years in prison, with the exception of boot camp. If you complete boot camp, go home. If you don't complete boot camp, go do 48 years. So that's what I was looking at. You got 50 guys who have a similar situation. And now I'm looking at like, oh no, we all going home. Because whether you did it or not, let's hope you make better choices now. So out of 50 guys, I got 48. They got themselves home, but I got to play a part in, with my experiences, with my mentality and my spirit and my journey. I got to be the leader of 48 men who will now get to go home to their families. I got to play a key part in that. So it's like, and then I got to go home. And it's like, it all, like the story comes full circle, bro.
That's fucking incredible, my G.
Yo, boot camp was, yo, before, they should know that you coming to visit me in boot camp, bro, you came to visit me. We started on January 13th. You came to visit me in December. Nobody owes me anything, but you came to visit me. And that shit meant the world to me, bro. Like, it's just a phone call, a letter. It just is what it is. It's like, it means something because you locked in these walls. You locked in these barracks with these men. And Casey said you was coming to visit. I'm like, oh, all right, bet. Somebody like Ian cares still. You gave me the news about what the plan was, New Zealand and Naomi and your homie. I'm like, oh, bet. Or that shit was in my mind constantly throughout boot camp. I'm like, oh yeah, we about to go home. It still is. Like the community we got going now, that's something that like I was looking forward to. Like I gotta get out there, I gotta play a part in this shit. I got people who think like me and who are on the same journey who can benefit from my presence. Let's run it. And that was like one of the things that kept me going. But still, I'm not undermining prison. I'm not undermining. There is nothing now that's about to break me. By that point, getting to boot camp, it was like, oh shit. All right, bet. We about to just run. Did that. We about to just work out. Do that. Mentally, you about to say what you want. What, bro? Like, what do you said? Like, I didn't have one bad day in boot camp. I didn't have one bad day in prison, bro. And I got right hand to source. Like, I know it's not even that deep, but there was never a point when I'm like, I'm about to break. It's just like, not there, bro. This shit inside, I'm building people up. I'm learning. I'm spending more time with self. You're starting to understand that it's all just an experience. Like life is happening for you, not to you. Make the best of it. At any point in time, life is happening for you, not to you. Like there has never been a mistake. I can't think of one time in my life where something happened and it didn't work out for the best. Never. And I had that mindset in prison, in boot camp, working out with dudes who were like, these dudes were on drugs. They're like, I'm seeing myself. I'm like, oh shit, I've been there and I see what this thing can do to us all. Let's build each other up because all we got is one another. That's community. That's the whole, you know what I'm saying? And I adapted that shit along the way in Peru and in Germany and all the good fortune that was given to me, I started to give back to myself first and foremost. I stopped running from myself. I faced myself. That was Germany. That was Peru. That was look myself in the face, address what's going on. Like, oh no, bro, you're sick. You're a thief. You're a fucking liar. You're a schemer. You're a pretender. You need validate. Like all those things that you got. Oh, be real with yourself. And it's like, oh, but it's cool because I love you and I understand, bro. You give yourself a hug and it's like, oh, all right, say less. That was a close one because I thought you were judging me. It's like, no, bro, I don't care. Let's run this shit. Now let's do what we got to do. Let's get out. Let's go make the best of it. That's why when you said, how does 30 feel? 30 feels fucking amazing, you know? Because I feel like once in prison, you realize, or I realized, that was the first time in life, early on in my life, it was always you running from the worst case scenario. You're like, damn, I don't want this to happen because this. I don't want this to happen because this. Prison, being locked in a cell by yourself is the first time you realize there is nowhere to go but up. Like this, I hit rock bottom. Wait, what else? Like in today's world where I ain't been homeless, like did all that, been in the streets. I'm not wishing that upon, I'm not taking anything away, but for me, being locked in a cell was rock bottom. I'm like, damn, that's crazy because now I can dream and like aspire from the floor without without looking over my shoulder to where I might fall, you know?
Wow, bro. Damn it. So there's a couple things I want to address in there, and then we can see where we go next. But yeah, like first, you said about how you didn't have one bad day in prison, and like I could definitely like I can't attest to that. I can only attest to the fact that when I visited you in prison, I was so fucked up by how calm, cool, and like high spirited you was. Like, you know, like we might have sent a message or two. You can't really get what the fuck's going on. A message like, yo, my nigga Germel's locked up, like he's booked, like just the way that we connected at Afropunk and many other places. Like I was like, oh, I gotta do whatever to see what's up with this man. And I pull up and you just like, you looking like you just got some good ass head and like had a great ass day. And like, you just comp with it. Like, I was like tense, you know, it was like a 4-hour drive. I'm kind of like, what the fuck is going on? You just like, oh, what up, cuz? Good to see you, da-da. And we just had this amazing talk. And like, bro, your vibe was better than like a lot of people like I know who just like had some good shit happen to them. You know, like it was like, because there's people who like the outlook on life is fucked up. And I just felt I was going like, I didn't know what to expect, but I was just very shocked at like your energy while I was speaking to you while you were, I mean, we were in a little waiting room, but you were behind bars. And the other thing I said is like, I would say is like, I've known you before all these things happened, right? And I remember like, I wasn't gonna say earlier, but like, yo, you was a pathological liar. Like, especially like I would say like in like middle school, like I didn't really fuck with you in middle school, to be totally honest. Like, and like just because like, we had a little like, it was more on my energy, my for me.
100% on your energy, bro.
Yeah, it was on me. It was definitely me. But like I felt like, yo, this boy's like, who this boy think he is? Like I felt we had a little competing energy shit going on. You ain't know what's going on, but that was all in my head. But like I remember like catching a couple of your lies and just being like, oh, what? But da-da-da. And then like meeting you later in life and like we like built a friendship and trust and like it was all based off wild shit and not like necessarily like super deep emotional ties. And like I knew those Germels. And then like after you getting out and us being in contact via message and I seeing you and then you got out of jail and us hanging out, like the progression, the changes in who you are and the way you think and the way you talk really fucked me up every single time. And I feel like, I don't know, that can only, maybe not, but it feels like that can only really happen to people who've gone through these like unimaginable, wild situations. And it doesn't take that, but like, you know, I know a lot of people who like, I feel like have just been kind of on a straight line, following the rules. And as far as being fulfilled, it's like when I have interactions, I'll be like, damn, like there's something missing. And I just like whenever I talk to you, like I feel like I'm in a very good place in my life right now. There's always shit that could be better, and there's a lot of crazy shit going on. But I feel healthy, happy. I'm in a beautiful place, and like when I talk to you, it's just like, damn, Germel's fucking shining. That's fire, and it's rare. And I just feel that like I really appreciate your friendship. Another thing I'm gonna say is, so you said you did 6 months in boot camp, but you was in jail for longer than that, right?
Yeah, I was just waiting to be sentenced. You go to jail, and then you go up top, like you go upstate. In the city, they say you go up top, so you went upstate. That's like, damn. I can go to county jail. You can go to State Road in Philly. or you can go to prison, jail and prison. So I was in jail for 13 months to be sentenced. They drag you out. So they have you sitting there. Wow. You go to court. Oh, court got canceled. Come back in 3 months. So most of the complaints you hear in jail are dudes like, I can't get a fucking court date, man. I need a lawyer because they spinning me. And I was blessed to have a lawyer. Like I give thanks every fucking day for that. Because there are so many people in jail. If you don't have friends on the outside or families that you burn your bridges, then it's a tough road because you lost in it. It's very easy to get into prison. It's almost impossible to get out. I'll say that.
Oh, that's a whole topic that, we deeply an hour and 40 in this, John. So you get out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
You feel, tell me about it. What the fuck?
Amazing. Like, it was just amazing, bro. I came back to Philly. I reconnected with my family. I'm experiencing Philly now from a totally different point of view. It's like Philly as an adult. Is Philly like as not sick? It's not hurting anymore. It's not running. It's not robbing, cheating, stealing. It's not lost and confused. It's Philly just like, damn, you get to experience and kick it. Like, in case you live here, we got an apartment on, don't matter, but we live downtown. Yeah, we live in the bubble, so it's incredibly blessed. Like the experience we having now is like, yeah, we live in the middle of downtown, and it's cool. So, but the day I got out was just continuing on that momentum. It was like I was reborn, bro. That was like, I knew that if the minute I get out, oh my God, like I'm changed. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do nothing. I'm clear-headed, still on the path. I'm healing still, nobody's complete, but I have so much joy now. And it only comes, it's like the reincarnation thing again. It's just, I'll have a son or I'll have a grandchild who won't have these experiences because I did. So I can look at someone who hasn't had my life, and who's to say that their father didn't have my life, their grandfather didn't have my life. You know what I mean? It's all pieces of the fucking puzzle to the larger picture. So right now I've gotten my dark night of the soul out the way, and now I pray for clarity, and I've continued to learn lessons of patience and selflessness and forgiveness. Like I have no bad blood or animosity towards anybody. I talk to my brother's 13 years old now. My sister has a daughter. My sister's daughter, the happiest moment of my life, bro. My younger sister Dara, she's cool now too. She's 25 and she's working. She has a 5-year-old daughter. We moved into this apartment, bro, and she brought her daughter here, and we had a big ass beanbag. And Ariana walking like, "Oh my God, Uncle Germel, your house is so beautiful." And we're like, "No, it's all mess." She's like, Casey's like, "No, it's a mess. Ariana, we got to clean up." She said, "Don't say that." Like she's an old soul, bro. She's like, "Don't say that. It's beautiful here." And Ariana falls asleep on the beanbag, and I sit there and I'm just like, it tripped me out, bro. It was like all that stress, all that everything, like had to happen for me to appreciate watching my niece sleep comfortably on my beanbag in my apartment right now. Like being able to do for my sister. Like I'm about to send my little brother, his birthday's coming up. I'm about to send him a phone, and I'm like, I'm able to do things now that I've been trying to do and could have done had I had the clarity back then. But, like life is the experience. The journey is the reward. So, like, Virginia put me onto that, actually. Virginia told me, I won't use the example she made because it was like, actually, whatever. It's not my example. But she said, you can't have one bad day and not understand why all tragedy had to happen. Because it's all references, you know what I mean? Like, this apartment means nothing unless the opportunity of being homeless exists. Your best day is only, like, you can only go as high as you've gone low. Like, how do you perceive joy unless you have something to compare it to? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I got
So
that
like
part.
the amount of joy, like she said, like she used Hitler as an example, and I'm not. These are my words. She was like Hitler had like people today can down talk Hitler, blah blah blah, but it's like these things that happen in life are all just like the pendulum swing, and it was like I can see how the example was extreme, but I'm like, yo, I wouldn't. The joy I have now is only on a scale to like the savagery that I felt before. You know what I mean? Like your
Right.
best day is only a polar opposite. It's the law of duality. You know the law of duality, and that's what I have now. Like my pendulum swung back and forth. And now I have joy that opposes the entire earlier part of life, and now I can make better decisions. Like I can change my karma. Karma is just all your choices you make. Now I can. I feel like I banged out, and now I'm starting to see how life reflects the choices you make. How you can put different energy out there and watch it unfold. I was putting, like you said, pathological liar. I was putting a lot of dumb energy into the world, and it was coming back to slap shit out of me. Now I'm able to put out joyous, like gratitude and like love and just excitement. Like life is happening for me, and I can see it that keep unfolding. And it's all just the journey is a reward. Like Heavy Kobe and Kyrie. Kyrie always says that shit. Kyrie, my dog. Like everything Kyrie's saying. Big facts. I'm with you, bro. Like Kyrie, super truth, but like it's the alchemist thing. Like the journey is a reward, and I see that. I feel that. I am that. You are that. I see what you're doing. Y'all are that. Like everybody's that. You know what I'm saying? Like the one thing I got from life now is understanding. There's not one person or one situation I look at and whether or not I agree, I can't say I understand. And I think that's important. That's what Christ represents. That's the love thy neighbor. You know what I mean? It's easy to love somebody when they're gone. You pass away right now. Oh my God, Ian, what the hell? He was this, that, and the third. It's hard to love you while you're here right now. It's hard to love the person sitting next to you on the bus. It's hard to love a stranger. And I'm not embodying religion, but that's what Christ is. They say live like Christ, love the neighbor, bro. And that's what I have now. It's extreme joy and understanding, bro. And that's you see that in the world now. Like, I don't know how to fix it, but it's like, wow, I can see both sides. I can mass murder, see both sides. You can't put yourself in someone's shoes. You still got room to grow. You don't have to agree with it, but like anybody on this planet, bro, you can understand how a person got to that point, how a person made those decisions. You understand where they were coming from and what they needed to do in order to heal themselves. You know what I mean?
Germel, right now in this moment, I feel very honored to have crossed paths with you, my friend.
Likewise.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, like saying everything you just said and going through your whole story of life. It has always captivated me every time I've gotten the pieces. I got piece by piece, but it's been amazing to hear just the whole journey. And yeah, man, it's crazy. We met in 5th grade. You was in Miss Liebman class. I was with Miss Gray, and I feel like you just never could imagine the impact that someone can have on your life. And you've had a major impact on my life, my friend. And it's not like we spent like a crazy amount of time together, but I feel like every time we do get a chance to link up, it's it's powerful to me at least, and I can't say that about a lot of people. That's not true, but and I don't know, man. I just feel really blessed. I remember, I'll never forget, I was in Bangkok, and I almost want to read this, but I ain't pull it up. That would be too much. Um, and I was like going through an amazing. I was in Bangkok coaching basketball. I believe I was with. No, I was with Tamar. I was definitely with Tamar, and I'm in this, I'm in this penthouse with my friend, just like living ridiculous. And I get an email from Germel Ford. And I'm just like, what? And I read the email, and it was when you were in Peru. And I remember the first thing you say is like, you're like, yo, I'm sending you this message from a small internet hut in Cantama, Peru. And you were like, yo, aren't you in like Tokyo or something? And like, I'll never forget that moment in my life where like, I was in such a good place, and to know, like to learn that you were in this place in Peru and you explained your situation, I just like, I feel like a beam of like light hit my heart. And like, I was just like, yo, Jamel is like a real motherfucking person. And yeah, like I don't even know what I'm saying, but I really like, I feel like our connection is deep. As Naomi said, we've been brothers in multiple lifetimes, and like
Facts.
and usually in a soldier mindset, or not mindset, but like we're fighting some battle,
Mm-hmm.
always fighting a battle, and we're still fighting the battle. Now it's more of a spiritual battle, and I think I think we got to win with this podcast. Definitely I feel like there's a lot of people in our past that I want to like personally like send to this, like, yo, you need to watch this, my G. Like, you need to set aside 2 hours of your life and watch this, because your story and what you have to say about your life is extremely inspiring to me. And I hope whoever listens, I love that. I'm like, my favorite part about this is I have a podcast just for my friends. It's like, I'm not trying to go viral. I just want to like help my friends. And I think everything that you just said can help people who listen to this. So I love you, bro. Thank you so much.
Love you too.
I'll leave you to. Is there
Before you
anything else?
before
Oh
you go,
no, I'm gonna let you rock. Yeah.
I think you brought up the email because I told you in the email. I don't know how you. It's not easy to do what you do, bro. And I don't think you're doing it to be seen doing it, but you're a seeker and you live and you're like, you go over the hill first, you get hit. It's like we at war together. You run over the hill, get hit with the arrows, and come back and say, yo, it's a lot of them motherfuckers over there. And you've been that in this community for the homies, like the emails you send, like, bro, we see them. People see them. And I think I was reaching out to you to let you know it's easy to feel isolated and on an island and like, yo, the last thing I wanted you or anyone close to me to feel is like, yo, I'm crazy. Yo, I'm going crazy. Yo, this shit not making no sense. Because if you don't get people to like, you don't need it, but like to send out 50 emails and you ain't getting one back, or like you not sure how your message is landing. We sit together ahead of time. You're like, yo, I want to put something out there, but you all know how they're gonna take it. And it's like, and then you always say, I ain't gonna chill, but then you put it out there subtly. But like, I wanted you to know in that moment, like, yo, you're heard. And I don't know who else hear you, but just know I hear everything you saying. I feel everything you saying. I'm made aware of everything you're saying, and I appreciate you for being the one to say it, because I wanted to say it. I know we all wanted to say it. Enough of us wanted to say it. So you're important. What you do is important. The emails you send, the posts you send, it's not about believing what you say. It's believing in somebody's spirit like yours. I don't give a fuck what you say. I
Wow.
respect you and love you, so I'll always hear what you got to say. But it's not important. What you have to say isn't as important as you being the one to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're important. Like, your spirit is important. Like, we need people like you to fight. You're fighting for us. You're not fighting just for you. So I never turn my back on somebody like you. And I would hope the homies never turn their back on somebody like you. Never put you to the side. Never isolate you. Make you never side eye you. It's like, yo, just be made aware, appreciate. So I love you. I'm glad we had to have this talk. Like, it's the virtual link up. But yeah, you're important, bro. Like, and if nobody else saying it, I'm saying it. And hopefully this will keep you going. I can't wait to see the next. You said you got, well, whatever. I can't wait to see the next ones and read the emails, and you just make us aware of like at least your perspective is your truth. And like I said, I understand that shit. Like it's true to you, bro. Whatever like you putting us on and what's going on in the world or what's going on inside of us, like I'm gonna at least hear it and perceive it. I'm never closing the door. I'm never hanging the phone up. I'm never not linking up. It's like you said, you were a real one too. So keep going. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you.
Man, I'm honored, bro. Thank you, dog. That's all I can say. Yeah, you was I'll never forget. I would say, I had like my own breakdown 2013-ish. I was posting a lot of crazy shit on Facebook. And you was like, you said something like, yo, bro, I seen every post. You was trying to tell us what the fuck's happening out here. Like you was like, you the one talking the real shit. You said something in that line. And I just remember like, wow, like you said, like, all right, I'm not all the way crazy. Somebody's listening. But
not crazy at all, bro. You just being you, bro. And it's valid.
And I'm enjoying it. Now I'm gonna leave this up to you. We can end it here. Or I found the email. Should I go? We should go 2 minutes, 2 hours. Run it. All right, bet. I'm about to read this email and then we can get the fuck out of here.
We kept the file.
Let's go. December 16th, 2016. Bro, I'm putting my shoes on in Bangkok and it says Germel Ford. I said, he says, yo man, what's good? Every time I get one of the emails, I'm like, damn, I'm gonna reply to one of these, but damn, that's drawing. If I reply to everyone at the same time, and I always chalk it. But nah, I gotta send love this time. First of all, thanks for all the heat you send our way. Always check out whatever you send and wind up being put on to some new shit. This Electric Lady Studio article is another one. You're in Tokyo, right? That shit sounds crazy. I'm writing to you from a small-ass internet hut in Guantanamo, Peru. Been backpacking through South America for 5 months, and you can imagine it's been some life-reflecting and reconditioning experience. When I get the emails, I'm always like, damn, me and Ian had some good-ass times at Penn State. Def realizing now that we crossed paths for a reason. You were one of the first person to put me hip to all the stuff going on in the world and to all of our capabilities and powers of the mind. Thank you for that, bro. Literally, everything you ever told me has held up, resonated, and sparked a seed that I'm continuing to water on an everyday basis. The world is a wild place, but I'm here for the ride, LOL. But yeah, whether the reason we crossed paths has already occurred or if we had unfinished business, thanks you for doing what you do for the people, man. Last year, my life has been a shit show. Not many people know this, but I backpacked Europe, fell in love, found the love I've been missing from my own mother in this woman that I thought at the time was everything I needed. As life does, that exploded. I wound up in rehab and had a mental breakdown before months later attempting to rob a bank. Found my 8-year-old brother unconscious overdosing alongside my mother that took my mind to a deep darkness. Spent 3 weeks in the cell for 23 hours a day getting out and fully coming to my power and realizing that I wrote the script for myself and I could write the remaining pages of my story and not fall into the system as another statistic and commodity for white supremacy. Been in South America doing Ayauscsa ceremony to shedding decades of insecurity, sadness, anger, unnecessary character traits, and all the other energies piled up and carried around my whole life and can honestly say I'm in the best place I've ever been. Gearing up to head to Rio, Brazil for New Year's, then head over to Germany to start backpacking Europe again. I'm not crystal clear on why I felt the need to tell you all this, but it feels right, and that's all that matters. Your post on the election and your regrowth really hit me as I was going through a process of my own. Partly because I know you understand and appreciate it. Wouldn't change anything that happened if I could. So much beauty and struggle and so much self-awareness and gain perspective from testing the limits of your own boundaries, both physically and mentally. But to wrap it up, how long are you in Tokyo? You have any plans of hitting up Europe? They're working on a screenplay. Would love to sit and share, gain more perspective, learn, etc. Thanks again, my man. Until the next time we cross paths. And like, yo, when I got that joint,
this shit is reflective for me too, but that's crazy. Like, that's crazy.
bro, like I'm telling you, like that was probably the most impactful email I've ever received, bro. Bro, I was just like, what? Like, Like what? Like that's on and bro, like shit like that, that's real, man. But yeah, dog, I love you. We got 15 seconds. We about to hit 2 hours flat. Let's
2
get
hours
it.
flat. There it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up soon. You know, we got more shit this shit just beginning.
Let's keep going, man.
All right. Peace. Love you.
For the homies.
Let's go.